Hunters. Life on the blockchain.
Welcome back to Bounty Hunters, Life on the Blockchain. We are back with episode 26 with my man Patrick Collins. Before we get started, our sponsors, we are brought to you by ImmuneFi, the biggest bug bounty platform in Web3. If you're a white hat, this is where you can earn some real money and make crypto safer. Don't know where to start? Hit the Feeling Lucky button and let the hunt choose you. Also brought to you by Rare Skills. Get 10% off a boot camp. Go learn some bounty hunting skills. Go make some serious cash. Go to rareskills.io/riptide. So without further ado, episode 27, we have Patrick Collins on, who is the co-founder of Siphon Audits, Solidity Official, Codehawks, Siphon Updraft. I hope I got all your companies, sir. Welcome.
It's all just Siphon, but yeah, those are some of the main products. Yeah, how's it going? Nice to be on the podcast.
Dude, I can't believe such a famous YouTuber like yourself has graced us with your presence.
You hit me right in the YouTuber.
Well, remember, we're mortal enemies based on X, if you recall.
Yeah,
we have a beef going back years.
Anytime you put, like, the first time you posted, like, oh, you're just a YouTuber, for like a hot second, I was like, haha, that's funny. But then a part of me was like, is that really what people think? I'm just a YouTuber? Oh, that feels bad.
YouTuber. You know, you are the only guest that has had a proper microphone, I'm noticing, because you have a setup at your house. It's just, It's amazingly clear. I love it.
Audio is important. Otherwise, people aren't going to learn security if I sound like crap, you know?
That's right, dude. So, I've actually followed your account for a while, and I like what you're doing in this space. A lot of people love what you're doing. So I'm curious, give me some background on Patrick. Like, when did you get in this game? When did you start out?
Yeah, sure. So, before I got into crypto, I was working at a hedge fund for a couple of years, and so yeah, like traditional finance, I was a big idiot. I was like, maybe 2 years out of college, just trying to learn traditional finance, and it was a pretty eye-opening experience, but it also showed me like a lot of the weird issues that traditional finance has. And I got introduced to crypto from, this random company was saying, hey, like, we're looking for financial data. I know you work with financial data. We're trying to get it on the blockchain. And I remember thinking, like, that's so stupid. Why would you want to put financial data on Bitcoin? That doesn't even make sense, because at the time I didn't know. And then that turned out to be Chainlink, and I was like, whoa, this is actually really cool. I learned about smart contracts and just kind of fell down the rabbit hole, and been loving smart contracts and what they have to offer ever since. And then 2.5, almost 3 years ago now, I was working at Chainlink Labs, and I had been kind of frustrated like for every single month I was like, security is such an issue. It's blocking like big enterprise and big institutions and big money from getting this space. And like, why won't somebody take this seriously? And everyone's like playing this super competitive game, and nobody's sharing any alpha, and this sucks, and everyone sucks at security, and all these audit firms are shit. Why won't anyone do anything? And then I decided, instead of bitching about the problem, I should create something to help solve the problem. And Siphon was born. So we do security audits and education. So yeah, Siphon Updraft is the number one platform for going from zero to professional, developer or security expert in the space. We have the most users in the industry, and and then Siphon Audits, we do security audits for a lot of the top groups in the industry. ZK Sync, MetaMask, and make sure the industry is safe. So we take the approach of not only helping one by one, protocol by protocol, but also, looking to level up everybody in the space, which is where, Siphon Updraft comes into play, which is our education platform. So I kind of segued into a pitch there. I didn't mean to do that, but here we are.
Well, so did you kind of launch this thinking, hey, this is going to be a public good, or did you also say, hey, look, I can build a business here as well with the audit streams and all that?
Yeah, great question. So this is actually something I learned from Chainlink Labs, and a mentality that I subscribe to still today is your focus should always be on creating value when building a business, and the creating value for others, and then the value for you will come. So or like I usually tell the team, hey, let's create value. We'll figure out how to monetize later. So that's kind of always what we do. How can we create value? How can we help people? And then we'll figure out how to monetize it. So Updraft was something that, I had always done YouTube videos. I felt like they're a really powerful way to help people scale up, because in our industry, we do all this weird shit that people outside this industry aren't used to. Oh, like download a browser extension that you put money in. That is the most bizarre foreign concept. And like, if you read it, you're like, no, this can't be real. But if you see someone do it on a video, it's a little bit easier to digest.
Yeah, imagine if we had these kind of resources. I mean, yeah, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, just getting a POC going in Truffle in Brownie
Yeah.
was such a pain in the ass. Just nothing out there,
Mhm.
and like, in some respects, it's gotten so much better with security and the
Mhm.
resources available and the transparency. And thanks to guys like you and other players out there, I mean, it is light years ahead of where we were. And that's good.
Yeah.
And in other ways, it's terrible too. I think securities, it sucks as well. But I mean, we have improved quite a bit when you think about that. The availability of this once kind of highly niche
Yes. Yep.
spot of information. Now, it's like guys like you, man, it's all out there on YouTube.
I remember when, formal verification for a while was this super foreign concept. And I remember thinking like, oh, it was like Trailbits was doing it, and like a couple of like, tier one firms, back in the day were doing it. And I was like, this is so, or yeah, Trailbits or Tora. I was like, this is so niche. And you got to be like a gigabrain to do it. And then I dug into it and I'm like, oh no, this is actually like pretty straightforward. Like, okay, building the tools is really hard, but like using the tool is actually straightforward. There's just all the resources on how to use them like suck.
Mm.
So yeah, like all that stuff is way more approachable now, which is fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. It's like, what would you say? Like, I mean, you've been here for a while. What's kind of the end game for you with crypto in general? Is this to get your Lambo fleet like Pashoff, or are you trying
Well,
to educate the world?
at this point, I'm so deep in it. Like there's not really an end game. Like, I mean, this is also like, this is my work and my hobby. So
That's
that
a
makes it,
problem.
it's definitely a
That's a lot
problem.
of us. Yeah.
It's yeah, right. Most of us lunatics were like, yeah, what are you doing the weekend? I'm coding. Isn't that what you did all week? Yeah. Or I'm reading contracts. Like, oh, cool, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah. So like long term for me is, and it's feeling shorter every year, to be honest, which is good, which means we're making progress. Is traditional finance runs on crypto rails, like period. Like the fact that the stock market exists still while we have this, I think, basically objectively superior form of trading securities, like is insane. Like if the stock market just got replaced by Uniswap, that would be awesome. Now granted, I said securities, but it's because stocks are securities, but not maybe not token, and I don't want to get into legal stuff there, but yeah, like stuff like Aave collateralized lending is just, in my opinion, objectively better. You have full transparency. You have non-custodial. Yeah, like Uniswap, even stuff like stablecoins. Are just this amazing thing that historically, if you're born in the wrong country, can I swear on this podcast?
Yeah. Oh,
You're
absolutely.
if you're born in the wrong country, you're financially fucked. You will never have financial freedom because you rolled a bad set of dice when you were born.
Hmm.
If you're born in the wrong country, your country's economic stuck, it sucks. You're fucked. Uh, Today, and the last like few years, is like the only time in history where you can be born anywhere on the planet and have access to the same financial products of anyone in the world, thanks to DeFi. So
Yeah.
to me, Endgame is all the financial rails of the world run on crypto, because we have this credibly neutral platform. And for me, that's the end game. And that's actually why I got into security, because I said, okay, well, all of that sounds amazing. However, if we keep losing $1 billion every other freaking week, uh, we're not going to get there. Because, if you look at like DeFi TVL, I don't know what it is right now, maybe like 75 billion, 150 billion, 200 billion, whatever it is. That is like that is like the size of like a mid-sized like hedge fund. It's so funny. We have thousands of people working on DeFi, and like like a 50 or $100 billion, like a $50 billion hedge fund can be run by like 120 people, and that's like the scale that we're working with here. So we still have a lot of work to do.
Oh yeah, and a note on that. Like I used to be in traditional finance as well, and I saw kind of the underbelly of how it works, and it's so archaic, as you know. And it's like people estimate these things. Like you get on crypto Twitter, and it says, "Oh yeah, we're going to the dollar's going down. Like we're going to replace everything with crypto," and their timelines are like a month, 2 months, a year. That's so
Mhm.
fucking ludicrous is the problem. AI is going to replace everyone. Dude, have you been outside your computer room? I'll tell you what, like all this tech is there. Yes. And is it superior? Absolutely. But there's so many legacy institutions that are
Yep.
middlemen that
Yep.
are just rooted in the ground. Like
Hmm.
the what's that entity, the clearing corporation, whatever, for stocks and the wirehouses, all
Yep.
these things, man, it's just so old school. And same
Yep.
with AI. Like I live in this old Italian town. Oh,
Hmm.
AI is going to take over the world 3 years. Shut the fuck up, man. Like the fucking 90s haven't gotten here. Like
That's
chill
funny.
out, chill out. But as far as like, I agree with you. I think it's a great goal. Is that should be the end game. Like we need to modernize this infrastructure, and I think give everyone an equal playing field because it doesn't make sense. You roll the dice. You're born here. You get an advantage, and with this, you have this beautiful decentralized system where,
Hmm.
as long as you have some IQ points and you're willing to take a chance, you can just get on that Siphon YouTube channel, and
Hell
there
yeah.
you go, bang out some contracts, and
Yeah. I mean,
you're buying Lambos.
even if you don't have IQ points, like
That's a
it's
problem. I know. You go to Solana then.
oh.
No, no, no. Much love for Solana.
Yeah, but like I mean, so security, like, okay, like there is probably um like security is tough. Like you do need to obviously like put a lot of work into to get good, but for a lot of this stuff you like don't need to be, in my opinion, you don't need to be like super intelligent. You can just like kind of put in a lot of work, like if you put in more hours than somebody else, you will probably do better. Like I feel like I feel very strongly about that because I mean, myself, I don't really consider myself the smartest guy, but I'm like addicted to what I do. And, if I put 40 hours into something, I'm probably going to do better than the person who puts 10 hours in.
You could pick any topic in life. Once you get older, you kind of realize that you just put the time in and
Mm-hmm.
shit works out. Just
Yeah.
keep showing up
Yep.
and
Yep.
shit works out. And the less you really want something, the more you get it. The less you're chasing money,
Yep.
you just start to get rich. Or the less you're chasing that girl, she's coming to you. That's these are old man lessons I'm going to pass down here to the podcast because most of my
Sure.
users, my listeners, are 18 to 24.
I believe it. Yep.
Believe it or not, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, it makes sense that people trying to get in the space. I mean, it's the same thing with Psych for an Updraft, right? Like most of the students are, like late high school, kind of like
That's so
early
cool.
college age. Yep,
That's
trying to
awesome.
just do change their lives. And I think that that's fantastic.
Yeah. All right, well, dude. So I saw a tweet from you guys, and whoever's running that account, maybe it's you. It was very well timed. So I had a banger of a post. It was like 50,000 views, and it was about how we got screwed with their Solana competition. And so we developed this AI security tool over the past year, and it's proven to be very, very good. And
Mhm.
so we submitted some findings, and we ended up getting the top spot. And the sponsor confirms the findings. And let's take this in the context of codehawks, right? Like how you see the business. So they confirm the finding, and so we're like, hey, great, we're going to be on top. It's going to be good PR. And then with really no rationale, it's overridden and downgraded. And then we get nothing. And not just us, but it was other researchers that found those findings that were confirmed, downgraded, and there's no comms at all. And I think they suck with the comms. And pre ownership change with Sox, this was different. But overall, they have terrible PR, and I don't know how they survive going forward. Having said that, I saw your tweet, and I know Kodak's been around a while, but unfortunately, I don't think it has the market share they do, and I'd love to see that improve. I think I know Mitchell at ImmuneFi. I think their model is good as well. I'd like to see them take more market share. So, tell us, how does your platform kind
Oof.
of go above these guys? How does it stand out?
I mean, I have so much respect for C4. I mean, they were the ones who kind of pioneered this space, right? Um, but I also understand, someone like yourself who's frustrated with what they're doing now. But so yeah, so to kind of give some backstory on codehawks, so codehawks was started because we were a little frustrated with the judging experience on competitive audits ourselves. Um, so one of my co-founders is Hans Fries. He was the number one guy on C4 for like either the second half of 2023 or the first half of 2023. Guy is a machine, absolute
Mm-hmm.
lunatic. I'm so happy that I get to work with him. And yeah, we got together and we loved the competitive audit model. We thought it was so cool, but we were really frustrated by judging because there can be so much bias. So there would be like reports of people saying like, yeah, I'm not going to compete in that contest because the lead judge doesn't like me and they're going to downgrade me. Or oh yeah, the voting, or excuse me, the submissions aren't anonymous. So like I'm not even going to bother because yeah, same thing. They know who I am. They don't like me. The protocol who's running the contest doesn't want to pay out, so I'm not going to do the contest because I know they're going to say, "Oh, yep, no highs or criticals." So
Mm-hmm.
we get this lower conditional pot, and just all that stuff. I felt was incredibly unfair to participants, and so we said, "Okay, we're going to make a platform where it's it's really really difficult for us as the moderators to fuck people over." So we had anonymous submissions by default. Um, we had no conditional prize pools because we've seen it way too many times where a protocol goes, yeah, we want conditional prize pools, so they find every excuse to just pay the lower prize pool. And a lot of like platforms will say, oh, we did that because the client wanted it. We're super client focused. And I said, my response to that is like, okay, you know, um, well, you're kind of undercutting your future clients because future auditors are going to see that, know they're going to get screwed over, and just not participate.
Yeah,
So, in my
you have
opinion,
two bases, right? You have your
yeah,
paying clients, and then you have your users, your
yes,
customers. Yeah,
yeah,
and you have to balance that.
yeah, you have it right. So, like, you can be hyper client focused, um, but I just think it's very short sighted. Like, you're abusing the audit community is a great way to not get people to come
Mm-hmm.
and participate. Now and to me that almost leads into like, oh, okay, well, we're going to pay people to show up. I'm like, okay, great. Well, now you're just an overexpensive private audit. If like the people who are actually showing up are the ones you've paid to be there, that it doesn't feel it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't really feel like a competitive audit anymore. The economics it don't work out quite the same. So, I mean, that's how we feel, and that's why, yeah, Codehawks from day one has been, try to be this super super auditor focused platform, um, and but maybe at the same time, it could be the reason why we haven't had as many contests. So we had like decent market share last year, but a lot of these, to kind of go into the backstory here, a lot of these competitive audits are usually pretty big bidding wars between platforms, and um, at some time, maybe like 9 months ago or something, um, pretty much everyone was like, no platform fee, only do the prize pool, because that
Mm-hmm.
was like the way to get clients, and everyone was just like, let's just dominate the market, and then we'll be able to turn the fee switch back on. So everyone was kind of racing to the bottom. And, we have, as a company, we have our private audits, we have our education platform, we have a whole bunch of open source tooling. And I think we kind of spread ourselves a little bit thin. And from, just to kind of go into like the business decisions, we said, okay, like, we're spending a lot of time, a lot of like, human hours on all these BD calls trying to, close these deals where everyone's racing to the bottom. It doesn't really make that much sense. So if people want to do something on codehawks and they come to us, like, great, but we're not going to get into these giant bidding wars where, we're already, we already make so much free shit. It's hard for us uh, to be honest, yeah, it's hard for us to make more free shit, right? So Updraft is 100% free, right? We have a whole bunch of open source tooling that's all free that we work on. Solidity is free. We have a static analysis tool, a Darren. We have a Viper version of Foundry. We have all this stuff, and at the end of the day, we're a small 30-person team without any VC funding, and we said, all right, it doesn't make sense to go up against these people who have raised, 5, 10, $30 million, who are just burning cash to get competitive audits. So it's kind of sad, but I mean, to this day, I think and maybe I'm obviously very biased. I think codehawks is still the best platform because of our hyper focus on making sure the auditors have a great experience, and I think that actually translates to the competitive audits being top quality. Whereas, like, on other platforms, sure, maybe they're paying for people to come and show up, and I think that is good, but I think you get worse economics here, and I'm sure like some PhD on game theory could prove me right or prove me wrong here. But yeah, when you pay for someone to show up, in my mind, it's like kind of like moves more towards like a private audit, and then at that point you might get better bang for your buck by just paying a bunch of people to show up. So that's kind of some of my thoughts on it. But again, like I don't hate the other platforms. Like I said, I have a lot of respect for C4. I don't agree with some of the things that they do, but all the platforms, Cantina as well. I don't agree with doing conditional prize pools. I think those are very unfair. I think, but they also still do a lot of good stuff, right? So I don't agree with everything they do. I think Codehawks is the best, but
Of
I
course,
also
of course.
don't have the we're probably we're not gonna, like I said, if people want to come and do competitive odds on Codehawks, awesome, it's there, but we're not gonna spend a ton of time on it.
That's interesting. No, I don't have any hatred towards Rug Arena at all.
What a sentence. I don't have any
No,
hatred
I,
towards Rug Arena.
I take the emotion out of it. It's what it is.
Oh,
It's disappointing. Is all it is. It's disappointing when I see behavior like that, and I just don't like seeing, because I get a lot of feedback from, because I have a lot of bug hunters that listen to this show, and they message me and they tell me about the contest. I really didn't do any contests before, and they just tell me how, just treated unfairly. And some of these guys, like, if they make 100, $200, that's a fucking win. Like, that's a
yes,
big win. And to see
it's
people get
so big.
chipped, yeah, over
Mhm.
little things, I would just hear it and I was, oh man, that sounds like it sucks. And then when you experience it yourself, you're like,
Mhm.
this is really shit.
So let me even like pull on that thread a little bit more. So as of right now, so even though I said we're not spending a ton of time on Codehawks, we still are running our first flights program, which is where we do every 2 weeks we have a miniature code base that we put up, and then we run it like a real competitive audit. Like, we have a judge who like actually judges things like a human being, like not like an AI,
Mm-hmm.
and gives feedback to a lot of these newer auditors trying to break into the space, trying to like get some experience, like put some reps in. You know what
Right.
I mean? So we are still spending time there. So I know I just said, oh, we're not spending time on Codehawks. So that's a lie. I lied. I'm sorry. We are spending time on Codehawks. But yeah, more as like part of this like security education branch here. And what you just said is actually so important. That first $200 is huge. It's
Yeah.
like the difference between a new security research a new security researcher saying, "Wow, this is something I want to pursue and go harder on," and "Fuck, this industry is stupid. I'm never coming back."
Yeah.
And I think that that's super, super important. And so getting gypped, I think, is extra bad because we're pushing away the newer talent. Getting paid on a competitive audit is so hard. It's so challenging because they are competitive audits, right? They are challenging. They are hard to do.
Well,
Um,
before Light Chaser, right? You might you might be able to get 10, $20 easy for
mhm.
zero addresses and that. And
Right,
then
right,
he wiped the
right.
floor. He took the
Yeah.
bottom out with that.
Which I actually, a lot of people were like, "Oh, that's so bad." I actually think that that's good. I
It is
think we
good. It
we
is
we
good.
should still be raising the bar. But when somebody finds something and they should be rewarded for it, and they get, it gets removed for whatever reason, like, oh, conditional prize pool, or oh, like, the protocol changed the scope, or something like that. That's like a big, like, a big, like, hey, like, new security researchers, like, go away.
Hmm.
And that's going to, like, remove some of this new talent that we need really, really badly. So part of, like, what we do on Siphon Updraft, like our education platform, is I'm always trying to get people to an aha moment, to some type of win, right? So, like, when we do Solidity, the aha moment is deploying a contract and seeing it on the Explore or seeing it on Remix.
Mm.
Doing that for the first time is like a big, like, whoa, this is, like, cool, this is,
Yeah,
like,
that is awesome.
real. um Same thing with security. Like, an aha moment is finding your first bug in a competitive audit. That's why we do first flights. It gives them that, like, it gives, like, a goal, like a step to reach. If
Hmm.
if your first, like, aha moment takes you 2 years to get to, that is so long, and so many people will drop off before they get. So we need to have aha moments in between. So, like, and if you're like, hey, like, here's this aha moment, it's right here, and someone reaches for it, and then you go, I changed the rules, it's actually over here now.
Yeah,
That
they're gone.
sucks.
They're gone.
You can only handle so many of those. And, like, the feedback I normally get when I say this is like, oh, well, we only want the most hardened, badass people, and they should just grit their teeth and blah blah. People can't go, 2, 3, 4 years and stay dedicated. Like all the people saying that, I guarantee you, like, they're full of shit. They didn't go 4 or 5 years of getting nothing. And, people will be like, oh, well, if you had a, PhD candidates, they take forever. It's like, well, they had, like, a guaranteed, thing at the other side. This security thing doesn't feel guaranteed, and feels even less guaranteed when we say, here's the next milestone. Oh, just kidding, it's over here now.
No,
Like, that
absolutely.
sucks.
Yeah, and like to be honest, when I first started, I was helped along through ImmuneFi's. They had like a forget what it was called, white hat internship
Mm,
program or something,
nice.
and it was so helpful, man. I mean, I could
Hmm.
not like I just got laid off, and I was like, I'm going to go all in on bug hunting. And they said, hey, we have this stipend program. I signed up, and that took off so much pressure. And all I did 7 days a week was hunt. I'm thinking of doing something like that with the podcast. It's just like, set it up as like a public good type thing and have some pot. Maybe people could donate, but just have, for a lot of these people, man, $1,000 a month is all they need to take all the
Dude.
stress off. Like,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yep.
That's it, man. So if we
Hmm.
have that, uh, I don't know where these guys come from, but the people I've had in the past 25 episodes are from all over the world,
Hmm.
from India to Europe to Asia. You don't know who's going to be the shit at
Yes.
this game. You do not
Yep.
know, man.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, like you're saying, get these. I love this first flights idea. This is really cool. And the mini code bases, those are actually real code bases.
Yep. So originally, when we first launched it, I just, like, every 2 weeks I would take, like, a day and then build, like, a project end to end. Basically, I mean, it wouldn't be, I've made so many dummy projects at this
Mm.
point. Like, it would be pretty quick, but, like, I was like, oh, I'm taking a full day to make this free thing. This is kind of a lot of work. But now it's been fantastic. The community has actually stepped up. and they are like making these projects, and it kind of works out really well where like a student will finish kind of the development portion of Updraft, or they'll be into the security portion. They'll go, oh cool, I have an idea for a cool bug. They'll make like a first flight, and then a lot of the first flights now have actually been community created projects, which has been awesome because then they're also getting feedback on their development, and like it's almost like they're helping each other. Developer gets to like get feedback on the development. Security researchers get to practice, actually finding bugs in a code base where the bugs are easy to find. So yeah, it's been awesome to watch people level up, with the first flights.
That's really cool. And like I think about this whole thing with the markets about I just look at human incentives and I'm like, well, to me, you're talking about the platform's bid. So if you have, say, Uniswap, say we're going to do our comp, and so you guys all would reach out with your BDs and then kind of say, just race to the bottom with fees, like we'll host you for this. And then like, from the Uniswap point of view or whatever protocol, I'm just thinking my goals are I want as many bugs found as possible, which means I want experienced security researchers hunting on here. I also, from an honest business type point of view, I would want to pay out as little as possible, but I'd also want to make sure that it's fair. So maybe that's where these conditional pots started, is kind of like an escape hatch, which I think is a road to ruin. It's terrible because you can't have that. You need a fixed amount that say, hey, this is our expenditure
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to put it out there. And that should incentivize SRs to say, look, we're going to spend our time 2-3 weeks on this code base to compete for this bounty amount. That's it. End of story.
I think, yeah. So, like in theory, the conditional prize pools make sense. Like exactly to your point. Like, hey,
To the
if
business, it makes sense.
from a bit, well, also from like
The hunter
uh,
doesn't want that.
Hunter doesn't want that, but in theory, they in theory they are fair, right? In theory, but in theory only, like hey, like if there's no highs, I want to pay less. But in practice, it's just, oh, cool. This is my escape hatch to like not pay out anything, but also, hey, we have a $10 quadrillion prize pool, the largest prize pool that's ever and any competitive. Blah, blah, blah. By the
Yeah.
way, if you don't find any highs, it's $10,000.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that is so tempting, And I've been in the room where you have a VC breathing down your neck about spending cash,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, what do you mean you spent this much money on this thing? Is there any way to lower that? And be like, well, like I've been in the calls. It's so tempting, as from the business side for you to go, well, we could like, I guess we could like justify that this is a medium, and the VC is like, yes, it's a medium, like make it a medium,
Mm-hmm.
like so like business daddy could be forcing you to play your hand. You as a business owner, if you take VC money, you're on the clock. You
Yeah.
have it's a resource allocation game. Maybe you say, oh, cool. Well, if we don't pay out that $100,000, we can use that to hire another person, and that'll make us go faster and blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just so tempting, and it's so easy to say, oh. We have this potential escape hatch. I'm always going to take it. I'm always
And the
going to take
little
it.
guy is getting fucked, which I
Hmm.
hate to see, and I hate
Yep.
to see happen. And
Right.
and,
So
and I
yeah,
understand. I understand the mechanics. I know
yeah.
you're absolutely right.
Like if you're like exactly to your point, you spend 2-3 weeks on a code base expecting that there's this large prize pool, and they go, oh, never mind, we're cutting it in half or whatever. It's like, okay, well, clearly you don't value my time, right? You don't value our time. We're kind of this conglomerate of anonymous people who don't deserve respect, and I think that's very unfair.
Yeah, and this has changed a lot too. Is the more formal our space gets, because I remember closing bugs with teams, anonymous teams over Telegram, and it was so easy because you're dealing with a 2 dev team, and
Hmm.
they understood, and they're like, yeah, legit. When you get all the business types involved, that's all it is. Is just let's think about the money.
It's
Fuck this
tough.
guy. You'll never hear from him. It'll die down in a week. Just that's it. There's no ethos. There's no. Culture behind it, it's just money.
It's tough, and it makes me sad because it makes me sad. I've seen a lot of really fantastic security researchers have to play the politics game. They have
Hmm.
to and it kind of sets a bad precedent because now all these security researchers are like super defensive, right? So, we've seen examples where a security researcher finds a bug, they reach out to the protocol, they say, "Hey, your bug bounty program says you owe us this much money." Protocol goes, now I'm kind of switching to bug bounties from competitive audits here. The protocol goes, "Yeah, no, F yourself. We're not going to pay you. Thanks for the free security, idiot." And now the security researcher has some choices. Okay, well, they can go on the offensive and go, "You better pay me, otherwise I'm gonna, expose." Or they just like have to like shut up and like take it.
Yeah. Or
And
next time they black hat it and you never hear about it. No one ever hears
I
about it
mean,
because that's what happened. And I don't advocate for that, but that's where you push people when you behave ridiculously like this.
I actually don't know how true that is.
Well, there's no stats on it.
I mean, that's what I was gonna say. I would love to see. I would love to figure out how to do some stats on that. How that actually pushes people to become non-ethical hackers. I actually don't. I have the instinct that if you're an ethical hacker, you're going to ethically hack, and if you don't care about ethics, you're going to non-ethically hack. But in my opinion, if you push away the ethical hackers, well, then your shit's going to be not secure, and you're going to just get wrecked. But yeah, like so you put security researchers in this position of being defensive and like having to like argue with the projects or threaten the projects that you're trying to secure, and that's like really bizarre. And I've seen newer security researchers think that that's like what they should do because they've seen all these stories where security researchers like, "I threatened them that if they didn't pay me the $100,000 that I was going to expose them, and I had to expose them, blah blah." And so I get emails now from new security researchers who go, "I found this bug from blah blah blah. Like, I know you know them. Reach out to them so that they
Mhm.
pay me." And I'm like, ugh, like, and
Yeah.
then I'll look into the bug and it's like garbage, and I'll be like, but then I feel bad because I'm like, I know that you're doing this because the precedent has been set that you kind of have to, and I think that also sucks.
Yeah. That's the old saying, squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're not willing to, it's like anything. If you're bargaining in that market and you don't bargain, you take the list price, they're gonna get fucked.
Mm-hmm.
It's anything, man. You always got to push back a bit, and this space has put a lot of people on the defense
Yeah.
initially, which you have to take every situation as neutral because with bug hunting, contests, anything, you have to forget about the past and you have to say, listen,
Yep.
let's just clean slate, be very professional,
Mm-hmm.
no emotions. If you get emotional, sleep on it, come back the next day, chill the fuck out, do a bench press.
Yep.
All right. you know,
Hell yeah.
but just come there and say, listen, it's all business professional. If they decide to, some fuckery happening, all right, you deal with it case by case. But I tell you, while the bad cases get a lot of publicity, I've had plenty of no nonsense transactions where it's been just fine.
Yep.
So you just don't know what team you're going to get involved with,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. Hey, so I want to grab some questions and answers from the
Sure.
Discord.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. So all right. So Q&A. My man Flacco, Bulgarian, amazing big brain. He says, first of all, huge thanks for all Patrick's done and doing for Web3. So there you go. Humble thanks.
Hey,
Will we
appreciate it.
see more new competitions on CodeHawks in the future? And why has CodeHawks been hosting so few comps in the last few months?
Yeah, great question. So I kind of addressed this
Yeah.
at the beginning. Basically, yeah, like Codehawks is up. We're happy to do competitions. Like I said, I to this day I think it's the most fair, the best competitive audit platform because we treat all of our auditors with respect and we don't change the goalposts mid audit. So yeah, if Protocol wants to do a competitive audit, awesome. We are happy to host. But we're not really going to get into these bidding wars anymore. I've been on all these calls where a protocol is talking to every single competitive audit platform, trying to get the best deal, and we have better things to do. Like and I know that sounds like kind of cringe, but we have 200,000 people on Siphon Updraft who are trying to learn security and break into the space. I'm
Wow,
not gonna
200,000. That is awesome.
I'm not
Congrats.
I'm not I appreciate it. I'm not gonna waste. I'm not gonna punish them because I have to explain to a protocol why conditional prize pools
Right.
are not cool just so that we can make $0.
What,
You know
what
what I
we're gonna
mean?
do, what we're gonna do on this pod is we're gonna get codehawks out there. As far as I didn't even really look at it before I just saw it. So we want to make people, the SRs that listen to this, we want to make sure they know about it. So when you do get those clients, we're gonna get some good high quality bug hunters over there
Cool. Hell
hunting
yeah.
for bugs.
Yeah.
So that would be awesome.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. So sounds good to me. If a protocol wants to work with a audit platform, competitive audit platform that's going to be super fair to the auditors, awesome. We're open for you. If you want to kind of like talk to everybody and have all these conversations about conditional prize pools and this that, we're probably not for you.
Yeah,
And
I like it. I like
yeah.
it. All right. Next question from Alex, who runs getrecon.xyz/riptide. Always dropping the fuzzing comments. Current thoughts on fuzzing versus formal and AI versus manual. Any input there?
Yeah. I mean, I've made so many videos on this topic. Yeah, I mean, so they're both important tools. They're both tools and they both have the use case. It's Jocelyn, who used to be at Trail of Bits.
Had him
Now
on the
he's
podcast.
hell yeah. I have so much respect for that guy.
He's awesome.
He was the first one to tell me, oh, like fuzzing is better 99% of the time than formal verification, and formal verification is kind of niche. And he
Mm.
he would follow that up saying, and it feels bad for me to say because I have he goes, I have my PhD in like formal verification or something around that. And I remember him telling me that, and I was kind of like, well, maybe you're wrong. But now that I've done so much, I've really in the past few years been like, no, he was 100% spot on.
Mm.
So as a developer or security researcher, you should pretty much always fuzz everything. And if you're using Foundry or Hardhat, it's so easy these days to make your test fuzz tests. And formal verification is good, but it's much more niche. You kind of, in my opinion, you kind of have to do a lot of formal verification to know where it's actually useful, because fuzzing is going to find the bugs 99% of the time, and it's easier to write a fuzz test than a formal verification spec. But there is a use case for formal verification. It's just much more niche. One of the things I don't like about formal verification is a, some of the marketing around it is like it's a silver bullet. It
Right.
is. It is not.
Right.
Like saying, "Oh, our contracts are formally verified," is like kind of a dumb thing to
Yeah.
say.
And what was
Because like,
verified?
what was verified? Formal verification, you can formally verify one very specific thing. So saying our contracts are formally verified is like saying, we put like a single black dot on a giant white piece of paper and said we colored it black.
But think about saying that on a call with investors when you're a CEO of a protocol. Like, think how
Yes.
good that sounds. We are
Yeah.
formally verified.
Yes. Right. Exactly. But it's
Oh, it
like,
sounds so good.
if you're in the know, you're like,
We're
well,
fuzzed. We are fuzzed.
we
It
are
just doesn't,
fuzzed.
it doesn't
That's
sound
yeah.
good.
It doesn't sound. It doesn't. That's actually super funny.
Yeah, we're
But yeah,
fuzzed.
like saying we are formally verified sounds really good. But like if you're in the security fit space, you're like, you maybe don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good marketing. His last question: do you think Solidity is still going to be the most popular in 2-3 years, or do you see a change in the space?
Oh, dude, for sure.
Sounds like a
It's.
Viper enjoyer.
I mean, I am a Viper enjoyer. I
I
think
also
Viper.
am. Yeah.
Oh, are you? I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
I love
Oh,
the Viper. Sure. You don't see it enough. No one uses it.
I like. I remember when I was breaking into like assembly and like compilers and stuff. I like that was like super eye opening when I was like, whoa, Viper is doing all this like cool stuff. Why doesn't Solidity do this? This is
Hmm.
like stack too deep is the dumbest thing that's ever
Yeah.
like, why don't you just stick the variables in memory? Like after the stack, what? Um,
Dude, have you ever talked to the Solidity team?
I mean, I make issues on the Solidity repo, but I haven't really spoken to them. That's not true. From time to time,
Okay.
certain people's on the
I,
team.
so
Why?
I met a couple guys at one of the ETH events, and they were from the Solidity team. And I was like, wow. And I was like, and this was when, you remember when Wildcat deployed and he had this big rant, the dev, on like all his gripes with Solidity. And he's tagging their Twitter account, whatever. And I said, hey, did you see what they're saying about you on X? And they're like, huh? Yeah, we don't even have accounts on that. I don't know who runs that. And like they had, and I showed him, he was like, holy shit. They had no idea like the bad press they get. And they're just
Yeah.
kind of like in their own lane. But
I,
you
I
know,
think I think to some degree that's actually kind of good. Like, ignore the noise. And this is why, I think most like make issues, make discussions, right? Like that's really how, you should go to where they are, right? Like, hey, like um I think I either made this as an issue or I like brought it up as a discussion. I was like, Solidity should have a flag to stick all variables in memory and ignore the stack, like a compiler flag or something. And I remember, I'm pretty sure they were like, "Yeah, we're not going to do that." And I was like, "Okay, that's kind of what I expected. Fair enough."
yeah.
But yeah, no, I love Viper, but even though it's kind of easy to shit on Solidity, Solidity at the same time has done so much good for the space. Yeah, I think there's a lot of improvements to make on Solidity. If anyone is a compiler Chad and wants to go check out Solex. So the ZK Sync team has made
Solex.
Solex. Solex is kind of cracked. I haven't taken as much time as I should to like really, really, really dig into it. But they were like, "Hey, like, do you have any feedback on stuff we should add to Solex?" And I'm going to get kind of in the weeds here. And I was like, "Yeah, Solidity puts all these free memory pointers all over the place that don't freaking do anything. Like it wastes like 7 gas or something stupid like that. But it pisses me off when I'm reading assembly." And they were like, "Okay, bet." And they got rid of that in their compiler. And I was like, "Whoa, this is sick." And then yep, they have their compiler is smart enough to stick variables into memory as opposed to on the stack, so you can avoid stack too deep using Solex. Solex is really, really cool if anyone wants to check out like another compiler. But in any case, yeah, I think the Solidity language is it has such a moat. It has such a moat,
Huge moat.
huge moat. Like I was kind of thinking, back when we released our Viper course last year. So we have a Viper course in Siphon Updraft. I was like, all right, cool. Like I'm gonna try to get all these AI Pythonistas over to Web3, and we're gonna use Viper and Python as the catalyst to do that. And it didn't work as well as I thought it would work. I mean, we still got a decent chunk of like Python devs to like come adopt Viper and get into Web3 through that avenue. But yeah, Solidity has such a moat. There's so many contracts written in Solidity. If you're a security researcher or a smart contract developer and you want to integrate with any other contract out there, you kind of have to learn Solidity at this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
If you're like, oh, like I want to build the DeFi protocol and I'm going to build it in Viper or Rust or some other esoteric language. Well, what should I do to prep for this? Well, you should learn Solidity and go look at the Solidity implementations first so that you can kind of understand what's going on there and how they did it. And you can compare architectures. So it's almost like to be a developer in this space, you kind of almost have to learn Solidity so that you can at least like understand what's out there. So I
Yeah.
think that like really, really helps Solidity. So I expect Solidity to be, dominant for quite some time. I think they have like 85% of all smart contract value as of today.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, it
but
got to be something like that.
something
But I
like
think
that.
I think Viper comes very easily after you know Solidity and
Yeah. Oh,
basic
yeah, for
basic
sure.
Python. I mean,
Yes.
it's so easy. It's so
Yeah.
easy to learn.
Like I feel like Viper could very like yeah, I feel like if people just go, oh, you know what, I'm going to do this in Viper now. Like Viper could definitely game adoption. I think the more interesting conversation is like, you know, Rust versus, you know, other ecosystems languages.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people are like, oh, like Rust, it's a programming language in other areas, so that'll make it easier to pick up and write. And a part of me thinks like yes and no. You know, it feels very like JavaScript everywhere mentality,
Mm-hmm.
where you know JavaScript in the again, I'm getting into the weeds kind of here, and for people who don't know JavaScript, this will be might go over people's
I
heads, but
think
like
I think people come out of the womb knowing JavaScript now.
fair enough. But you know, JavaScript in the browser versus like Node.js, in my mind, are like completely different in like every way. And you know, knowing JavaScript in the browser might actually hurt you for JavaScript with like Node.js because it's like the same but different, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
different enough where it's actually very confusing. The for me, my biggest gripe with JavaScript was always I would go to Stack Overflow to like learn how to do something. Yeah, way back in the day when you know people used Stack Overflow, and I'd be like, oh, how do you do this in JavaScript? And someone would give me an answer, but it's like, and I would try it. I'd be like, oh, it didn't work. And they would be like, oh, it works for like this version of JavaScript in Node.js. And we're using like this different ECMA version. And I'm like, oh, what is ECMAScript? Is that JavaScript? They're like, well, kind of. And it's just, it was this so fractionalized. And I feel like that same type of thing could happen with Rust, where it's like, oh yeah, this is like Rust, but it's like smart contract Rust, so it's different, and that actually might be more confusing. But JavaScript everywhere, you know, worked. You know what I mean? Like, you know, people, you know, it's
It's like a
been
virus.
it's like a virus. It's been the dominant thing for years. I think I think for smart contracts, kind of that mentality is kind of bad. I think smart contracts should have a domain specific programming language because it is so different from you know regular programming. But now I'm kind of like ranting on a tangent
Mm-hmm.
here.
Well,
Yeah,
I'll break you out of your tangent.
yeah, please.
Hey, I'm curious. You know, it just made me think of something. Where do you think we see bugs going forward? Because I feel like Solidity. I think we're getting that. Even we're almost at version 1, right? We're almost at 0.9. But like a lot of the Solidity bugs, like no one's come up with a new good bug class for me past like the read-only reentrancy stuff. I haven't seen like a new bug class. Like I think we've got it sorted out for now. I'm sure something will come up. But
Hmm.
like I see a lot of bugs coming out of like the bigger bugs that you see out of the composability space. Like
Yeah.
taught, you know, you need to look at Solidity, the Rust backend, and then maybe a protocol that talks to that. Those bugs I think are still
Hmm.
wild, still in the open. Those are the hardest to get. But I think like baseline Solidity, you know, the bugs that come out are really stupid. It's just human errors.
Yeah.
But it's nothing like I don't know. Like where is do you see the same view? Like where you see bugs going forward is kind of the more out there on the complexity scale.
Yeah. Well, so block threat intelligence does a great job of kind of like keeping track of what classes of bugs are happening in the industry. And for me, it really feels like, yeah, like exactly to your point, we are getting a lot better at doing audits and security on Solidity smart contracts themselves. Um, but humans are still stupid and humans are still dumb.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, and AI obviously is making those lower class, those simple mistakes, you know, easier to catch. You know, kind of you started the podcast saying, you know, you have an AI tool you work with. I feel like every security industry in the space, excuse me, every security company in the space is working on some type of like AI tool to help with
Mm-hmm.
audits as well. And some of those are the dumbest things I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And
Most of them are.
and Slither is like basically what they're running. But some of them I'm sure are actually providing value. AI is helping. In any case, yeah. So the protocols are getting more complicated, as you kind of are pointing out with like composability. You know, they have more stuff attached to them. Maybe they even have like off-chain services attached to them.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, the more complicated you get, the more surface area you have to make a mistake. So, but yeah, right now, kind of one of my more recent tirades is like, humans are just kind of lazy with their wallet security, and the Bybit hack at the start of the year,
Oh,
like really.
88% of hacks are private key compromise.
Yeah, I mean, it's, to me, that's kind of the biggest issue right now, is where people are, being super flippant, with their wallets. And I think we as an industry kind of are to blame for that. We're, like, stick your private key in your .env file. Like, yeah, it's cool to have it in plain text. Like, that's super normalized. It's like, what the hell did we do for what the hell have we been doing? Not your keys, not your crypto, but like, like, leave it in plain text. Like,
Dude, but look, it's gotten better. Like I was
yes,
cleaning up my
for
filing
sure.
cabinet. Listen, I'm cleaning up the filing cabinet yesterday, and I pull out this photo that I had, and it was from 2017. And I just happened to look on the back of it. It's a fucking private key. I wrote down
Yeah.
for some ghost chain. I don't know what this was. ICO season, and I have no idea. Even LLMs couldn't find it. I was like, oh shit, man. I have no idea. Maybe Purecoin. I have no clue. But we're at least we moved to like seed phrases,
Mhm.
hardware wallets. Like it's a
Yes.
little bit better.
A little bit, but hardware wallets, I got a whole rant on those, but maybe for another time.
Yeah. All right. So this kind of segues into Zero's Cipher, right? He's got a question. Do you think majority of Web3 sec work would be eliminated by AI in the next 3 years? And I want to just say one thing before I get your point on this is like, I think it's, I think we're going to see, and this goes on to human laziness, is people default to the easiest option and they just won't even code. And AI is going to be coding. And as long as that's making mistakes, you're going to get more and more AI mistakes. And then you're going to have AI fixing these bugs at a higher rate than humans can address them. So I think, I think no, not at all. I think there's always going to be Web3 security work.
I mean, to be honest, same. I think AI is going to help a ton, making it easier. But I think for a long time, there needs to be a domain expert to help these AIs improve, help these AIs get better. Um, AI is phenomenal at being trained on kind of existing bugs and stuff, but new stuff it's still a little bit challenging. AI is also very susceptible to marketing. So, like, for example, if I'm going to use like Coca-Cola uh, paid some researchers to say that sugar doesn't make you fat. Um, if all of a sudden AIs believe that, like, formal verification is way better than fuzzing, you should only formally verify. Well, um,
Yep.
that's something where a human will come in and be like, well, actually, no, that's the AI kind of being trained incorrectly or corrupted,
That's a
if you will.
challenge. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and
true.
then like hacking the AIs, um, finding ways, finding people will find ways to corrupt your AIs so that you miss stuff, and I think there's or like or doing things that an AI might not think of. Because the surface area of crypto is huge. Maybe like there's all these weird examples of like side channel attacks that you might think of that an AI might not like.
Mm.
There was those what was it? If you could like listen to a machine and get the private key from like the
Like a,
whirring of the
isn't that
fan or
a
some
Tempest
crazy.
attack?
I forget who it
Something
was.
like
Yeah,
that.
maybe.
Yeah.
But I remember hearing that and be like, that is so creative.
Couldn't they
Um,
do this back in the day? I remember something. It was like they could look at the LED on your Ethernet cable port and like the flashes.
right.
They
Like,
could. Some geek is out there like, yeah, I got it.
yeah.
He
Well,
typed a
it's
K.
right. It's like that Linux bug where the Microsoft researcher was like doing time benchmarks for like his database, and it was like a few nanoseconds off of what he expected, and he dug into that and
Oh
found this
yeah,
crazy like
yeah,
Linux backdoor. It's like,
yeah.
we need those nerds to keep
Yes,
doing that for quite some time.
that's right. Very true. All right. Next question here is from Trad Mod. How does Patrick maintain work life balance in such a fast moving space and remain obscenely jacked at all times? I threw that last part in, but
uh, you wake up, you go to the gym, you put your time in, and you go to bed. And that's it. You
But
just do that every
what if
day.
you don't want to go?
You
What if you want to sleep in?
just tell that piece of your mind to shut the hell up and do it tired. If you're tired, do it tired. If you don't feel like you're going to be able to put in 100%, great. Put in 80%. Like who cares?
There you go.
Just show up. Just putting in 80%, 100% of the time is 1,000 times better than putting in 100%, 50% of the time.
There you go. Look at this. Spoken like a trainer. Just show up. Just
Just
show
show
up
up.
to work
Just
or
show up.
working out.
Yep.
All right. It also says, when could we see genuine adoption of DeFi? Mostly DeFi users are degens, even SRs fear investing in Web3 products. God, is that true? That's the problem.
Yeah.
Are we going to see mass adoption in this space, or is it going to remain degens and nerds only?
No, I think we're definitely going to see mass adoption.
When's grandma going to do a swap on Uniswap?
Well, what's nice about the when's grandma is grandma doesn't really know how HTML works or what HTTPS stands for, and that's okay, So I think it'll come. I think we're getting better. Vitalik just put out this blog post about low risk DeFi. We have fantastic protocols like Aave that have really got that Lindy effect going on. They've been around with a phenomenal security record. So I expect it's going to come sooner than we think, but also not soon enough.
Yeah, and it's going to be wrapped in those cell phones for the elderly, the big buttons. It's going to be wrapped like that so they can just hit boom, swap.
Yep.
Okay, last question from Strap On Tin. What are the restrictions enforced by Siphon in order for a protocol to have their project accepted for a contest?
We don't really have a lot of restrictions. To be honest, it's mostly like, hey, like what is the dollar per line of code? Is that fair? Is the code base something that we think that protocol is gonna get like a good security output from? There's not really any restrictions. It's more, no real like hard rules. It's more like, like, do we think that the community is going to be able to show up and give you good value for your money? Like if a product, if somebody came up and was like, hey, we're using this language that we created, we want to do 2 weeks of an audit of 20,000 lines of code. I'm going to be like, well, that's a waste of your money because no one's going to find anything. But yeah, so no real restrictions.
Okay, good. All right, there's one other feature that I didn't prep you about, but I do an alpha drop every episode, and that alpha is usually about a bug or something like that. But since we got Patrick Collins on here, I know he likes to gets jacked like me. We're gonna do some weightlifting alpha. Okay, so you follow my lead here. So my alpha drop is young lifters. Do not train your shoulders too hard because you have these small twitch muscle fibers in there, or were they fast twitch? I forget the terminology. But if you train them with too heavy of a weight, it's very easy to injure a shoulder. And you could still get size by just training kind of higher reps on your shoulders. You could do shrugs, but like presses, certain things, don't do super heavy weights. I'm telling you, shoulder injuries suck and they take ages to heal. Patrick, what do you got?
Oh, like another weightlifting tip?
Yeah, some weightlifting or exercise alpha, because no one is getting out of their chairs in this fucking industry.
Well, that was some great alpha right there. So my tip is, if you haven't found a workout routine that you like, keep trying other ones until you find one that you like. And by keep trying them, I mean stick with something for a week or a month before you decide if you like it or not. And once you find that thing, be consistent at least 4 days a week. And if you're tired, just do it tired. Make it part of your routine. It's going to help you be happier in life, look cooler in life, be fitter, and it's going to it'll increase your bug finding rate. It's true.
He's
You
true.
will find more
He's
bugs.
totally right. And on that note, don't bring your phone to the gym. Thank you for coming, Patrick. We will see you guys next time on the blockchain.